Namaskar and welcome to everybody, especially our very eminent speakers who have been so kind to spontaneously agree to share their knowledge and spend this time with us. I know they all have very busy schedules, but they've still agreed, and we are really honored to be hosting you. And on behalf of the Center for Soft Power, we are now hosting webinar Soft Talk 3. The topic being Earth to the Hearth, the journey of food. And I would also like to thank Dr. Rupa Vasudevan, who has been very kind. She's the Chancellor of the Best Innovation University. She's not only agreed to be our moderator, but she is also, all her technical staff is helping us, put this whole program together. And we thought that, at the present moment that we're in, this is the best time to contemplate on our life and lifestyles. We really have to look at what is it we are doing to Mother Earth. And this is the time we thought that it's good to contemplate. There are many people who are conscious about the food that they eat, but less number are worried about how it is cooked. Even lesser number is worried about what the ingredients are, and only a handful is really worried about where this food comes from. So we thought that, this is a good time to talk about the journey of our food. And at this time, it comes to mind the story from the Srimad Bhagavatam written by Vedavyasa, where there was this very cruel king called Vena. Vena means tyrant. And Vena was this king who went and recklessly was killing and hunting down animals just for the sport, and also his own, people of his kingdom. And then he overexploited Mother Earth till she stopped yielding. And he was so cruel that finally his council of ministers decided that they have to put an end to him. I mean, he was so terrible, they had to put an end to him. And then his son Prithu, who was a small avatara, I mean, he was almost endowed with a lot of qualities of Lord Vishnu, ascended the throne. When he ascended the throne, what happened was he found that his people were all in a state of famine. The whole country had been exploited. There was no yield from Mother Earth. So he decided that he has to teach Mother Earth a lesson. And so he went out with his bow and arrow, ready to hunt her down. She manifested as a cow and started running. Finally, he caught up with her. Then she stopped and she turned around. And she said, "What is it you want?" And he said, "How could you do this to my people? How could you deny my children food?" And well, she said, "I will yield all the food you want, provided you take care of me the way you should. You cannot exploit me and overexploit me like your father Vena did. If you will take care of me, then I will yield and I will give all the food you want." And then she also said, "When it rains, see that you store all the excess rainwater so that I am not parched in the summers." And so what has happened now is, what is it we are doing? I mean, I can say that, we are practically like Vena, because what we are feeding Mother Earth is just poison most of the time. And we are just overexploiting her and overexploiting her and overexploiting her. India, many old cultures always looked at the entire creation as divine. And in India, we even called her Bhumi Devi. But because we have disconnected ourselves a lot, I mean, the gap between us and our culture is widening. It has become where, it's just a ritual of doing worship one day in the year. But is that what we are supposed to do? You're supposed to respect, you're supposed to honor, and you're supposed to take care of Mother Earth. Maybe out of a selfish interest that she gives back to you, but at least let us do that. Having said this, let me now hand over the proceedings to Dr. Rupa Vasudevan. And once again, my pranams to all our speakers and my thanks to all our viewers. And I hope that, what fantastic knowledge is going to be shared here will make a small difference in the way we look at life. So thank you all again. Over to Dr. Rupa.
Thank you very much, Akka, and welcome all of you. Uh, Akka Vijay Lakshmi ji has now set the tone for the event, and we are all eager to hear our speakers and the luminaries who have taken time out today to give this wonderful talk of Earth to Hearth and the journey of food. Well, we start with our first speaker right now, Maya Tiwari ji. She is a humanitarian, world peace leader, and an author. She is an international teacher of Ayurveda and a health activist. In 1981, Mayaji established the Wise Earth School of Ayurveda, the first school of Ayurveda studies in North America. In 1998, she founded the Mother Om Mission, MOM, a non-profit organization that provides Ayurveda education and services to at-risk communities in New York's inner cities and Guyana. So I call upon the most honored Maya Tiwari ji to kindly enlighten us with your talk, please. Maya ji, over to you.
Namaste, thank you. Hello, brothers, sisters, and all speakers. Thank you for inviting me on this panel, and it is a pleasure to be here. May we start with prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. In the Prajna Upanishad, we are told that food is the seed from which all beings are produced. Anam Parabrahma Swarupam. In Ayurveda, we refer to nourishment as ahara, which is not merely the sustenance to keep us alive. It is the Sanskrit word for Mother Nature's food, for the nourishment of the mind and memory, the imprints of our ancestors, the seed of the newborn, the spirit of a family, the land, river, sky, mountains, and the universe. In Ayurveda's thought, every grain of sand depends on Mother Nature's food. And the key word, of course, is Mother Nature. In the inner medicine work we do here at the Wise Earth School, we show the necessity for reclaiming the spirit of inner harmony, good health, and nature's cyclical rhythm. Because without honoring her seasons, her transitions, her elements, we cannot cull or garner the harmony that we so need to live a human life. May we continue? Hello?
Yes, please. We see you, we hear you. Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. We live in the 21st century, the Common Era, which began January 2001. In the last century, 111 years, notwithstanding the impact of war, genocide, disease, and famine, the global population has soared to 7 billion. By 2050. It is likely to be more like 10 billion people. The 21st century can be seen as the time of phantom food shortages, the push for food security. Whilst in the past 50 years, more than 130 million people have died from food shortages, malnutrition, and famine, today it stands 90 million people or more are currently living in the state of crisis, food insecurity, as we call it. And we, of course, have no immediate solution. Over time, famines have become increasingly science and man-made. It is a phenomenon that is made by man. We can attribute to many things, demagogic governments, but most of all, we can look at the treatment of Mother Earth, of the land. And we have to get back there and start from there. By the start of the 20th century, famine was virtually eradicated from most of the world. But after World War I, the disease of major famines began. 130 million people, as I said, died from famine in the 20th century. In the aftermath of World War II and its food catastrophes came the advent of the Green Revolution. I call it the birth of the food science. This movement has taken hold in the developing world from the 1950s through the 1960s, while at a shallow glance first appeared to bolster agricultural productivity to unprecedented levels. Its hurrahs were short-lived due to the many myopic factors involving the untoward efforts to industrialize, denigrate, and plunder Mother Earth and her resources. The Green Revolution further served to sever our connection to Mother Earth, her cycles and seasons, and glorious cadence. In the Oxford Dictionary, this revolution is described as a large increase in crop production in developing countries achieved by the use of fertilizers, pesticides, and high-yield crop varieties. When actually what occurred was a monocropping that killed the earth, usurped the earth's water, and left barren lands. The birth of food as a commodity has been the bane of Mother Earth and our lives. The commercial food movement in the last 50 years have been an apocalyptic genre of unwholesome targeting of our earth and therefore the hearth in our home. It was the beginning of the betrayal of Mother Earth. With toxic chemicals in our food, pollutants in our water and air, animal abuse in factories and farms, the overuse of antibiotics, GMO, genetically modified and engineered foods, cellular agriculture becoming the new horizon of our food damages, processed foods and packaged foods, farmers' compensation, health and safety, foodborne illnesses like listeria or coli or excessive subsidies, and the list goes on. Today's global food system and its profiteering conglomerates leave us with food insecurity, obesity, and cross-species barrier diseases that threaten the health and welfare of more than half of the world's population. 1 in 7 suicide deaths is from pesticide poisoning. As the 21st century began, new agents of disease are being identified. New epidemic outbreaks have occurred. 8 agents suspected of jumping the species barrier have made a significant appearance. Of course, coronavirus, Ebola and Marburg, hemorrhagic fevers, human monkeypox. The list goes on. But we have to bring an education. We have to bring a sense of awareness to the mind of every individual across all of the societal barriers. Because the key and the core to getting our health back, not just our personal health or our global health, but the health of Mother Earth, is to go back to her. It is so incredible that in Ayurveda, in fact in the Atharva Veda, we're told that the tissue memory of the edible plant is synchronized to the layers of the 7 dhatus, the 7 tissues in the body. We call food as medicine, anam aushadam asti. Food is the keeper of all 5 elements, and its transformation, the body of life, is formed. We are patterned from the weave of phenomenal memory, and our relationship to food determines the quality of not only our lives, but the quality of our communal life and, in fact, our global welfare. Food, and I'm talking about not the fodder that science has made food into, but food that comes through the natural cycle of the heritage seed, the cosmic seed, to the fragile sprout, to the flowering plant, and to the fruit and sustenance. Food makers dig into the land and feast on her bounty and expel our bodily waste or malice back into her earth to enrich herself. Mother Earth depends on the sentiency of the human digestion and assimilation of her food to put back what is left through the journey in our dhatus back into her earth. And this is why I say food is memory and eating is remembering. And what are we remembering? Our vital tissues are directly fed by the food we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink. We must reclaim our heritage seeds. We must take back our local and communal farming practices. We must build our own personal garden. We must share our personal garden. We must learn how to treat Mother Earth with the respect and the awareness that she deserves. The process of our own assimilation, in fact, mirrors the way that the construction of edible food is created. The lymph, blood, muscle, tissue, nerve, fat, cartilage, and then sperm and ovum, all fed by this wondrous transformation of food as we digest it. That food holds incredible memory from the universe herself that we disrupt when we use chemicals and sprays, when we genetically modify her. We're disrupting the actual memory that lies within the food, that memory that is synchronized with the memory of the dhatus. So that when Mother Nature's food is assimilated by the human body and by the animals who are plant-eating animals, the food actually unfolds and generates its own nourishment, its own nutrition in a phenomenal cycle. It has a crystal, in fact, from dhatu to dhatu that actually illumines, radiate the light into the next tissue. We have been tampering with that, with the element. We cannot make better our food integrity. We cannot make better the intelligence of the universe that's already in Mother Earth, no matter how much we try. The 5 elements course through our body. It is said in the Vedas. Through our hands, we can actually experience space and air and fire, water and earth. I am me hasto Bhagavan. I am me e Vishrabhe e Shajoyagum Shiva Bimarshanaha. My hands are blessed. My hands are blissful. Because the elements, the same elements that course through our food, Mother Nature's untampered food, are the elements that course through the human body, the body of every species. During the precarious time that we're living in, we must call ourselves, our friends, our community, and those who are less fortunate than us to strengthen our individual nature by contributing to Mother Nature, by returning to her, by reclaiming local farms, by reclaiming our agriculture, by taking back the power of the land. Good health, happiness, harmony has nothing to do with the commercialization, chemical poisoning, bioengineering of the earth's food, water, and air. At the center of it all is the individual intrinsic memory, and therefore our present conditions of agriculture and farming, and all of the scientific engineering plunked upon it, really is the bane to human consciousness. There can be no personal wellness or global prosperity without restoring Mother Earth and her wholesome foods. Her resources are contaminated beyond words, and they affect us all, because in her food lies the sentiency. Anadvai praja prajayante, yes kaschit prativishvrataha, ato anne naiva jivanti, atai nadapi yantyan tataha. From food, all beings are produced, says the Taittiriya Upanishad. Whatever dwells upon the earth, by food we live, and in the end, to food we return. Food is the eldest of all living beings, and therefore it is called universal medicine. Anam Aushadamasti.
Thank you very much. Uh, it was extremely enriching and enlightening. Maya Tiwari ji, I totally endorse, and we all do. It's extremely painful, although we all know about it, but the way you expressed this almost had tears in our eyes. And we know it's now more than ever that we need to go back and do something about it. The core to getting the health of Mother Earth back is to go back to her, is what you just expressed. Food that plays important role, not just as delicacies, but also as purifier of the body and Atman. I completely agree, and thank you so much. It's a privilege to have heard you today. I'm sure all the audiences will agree to me. Thank you very much, Maya ji.